Last time we talked about all the harsher things in the first couple of days of being in Grimgar and how f***ed up the world of Grimgar actually is and the corruption of the first town that you're going to most likely spawn in if you become a volunteer soldier in Grimgar. We made 2 videos on those, and for the most part, those videos are more or less dealing with the first maybe month or 2 in Grimgar, but we're not really done yet. Today we're going to talk about the individual problems that different classes have to deal with in Grimgar, because for some reason, every single class has to have some problem that they have to deal with. Some of these vary from class to class, and some of them are way worse than others. And when I say problems with the classes, I don't mean like mages or physically weak people. I mean the baggage you're going to have to deal with while you're a thief in Grimgar, for example. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I live stream on Twitch. We started playing Baldur's Gate, and I plan on making videos over on my gaming account, letting people know how to make Grimgar characters in Baldur's Gate. If you're watching this video on the day it releases, I am probably already live on YouTube and on Twitch. Link in the description and in my bio. But one of the classes that has some of the most problems in the form of restrictions, and they're actually kind of funny, are the Dread Knights. Also, for the record, Ronto would totally be a fighter/warlock multi-class, or a warlock/fighter, depending on how you want to start. I can't wait to make that video. It sounds so much fun. 1, you have to sign a contract that makes it so you cannot, well, have sex, ever. This vow of chastity has been implied to, not really been followed all that much, and it's kind of something that some of them may ignore depending on the situation. However, it is implied if the higher-ups find out about your, not keeping this promise, they may punish you, and the punishment might be death. Also, and this is probably the bigger problem, if you become a Dread Knight, you are not allowed to multi-class into any of the other classes, or else you'll be hunted down and murdered by your fellow Dread Knights. This is something that is very focused on by the Dread Knights because they have such little numbers that they don't like having other people learn their skills and go to other classes because it makes their god angry. You also have to deal with basically being disliked by everyone around you, especially if you're someone who follows the Light God in Grimgar. They kind of just look down at you for following the Dark God. And the Light God is extremely popular. So people might not do business with you because you're a Dread Knight. People might just be rude to you because you're a Dread Knight. There's just a bunch of problems to deal with being a Dread Knight. Also, some of your abilities, like summoning a demon, are borderline worthless in lower levels. If you want to know more about that stuff, though, I made a whole video talking about the Dread Knight class in its entirety. If you guys want to go check that out. Other people that are going to get treated poorly because of their class are like thieves, like I said earlier. Mainly because, well, you're a thief. They just don't trust you and may just not do business with you. Another thing that's an honor code among the thieves is you can't work with more than one thief in your party. This is something that's kind of ignored sometimes, depending on the situation. Also, through the wording in the light novel, it's kind of implied that you're not allowed to work around each other. So if 2 parties are near each other, they may have to work far from each other. But we never really see that ever happening in the light novel. They just kind of ignore that honor code entirely. However, if a thief is a traditionalist and they just force the code onto other thieves, you might have to comply. But it all depends on the situation and whether or not you and your party want to get into a fight over it. And now for the warriors and hunters, I'm putting these together because they're the only 2 exceptions. We kind of barely know anything about warriors' training, so we don't really have much to go off on there, but there doesn't seem to be any problem with warriors. As a matter of fact, they seem to have more respect than a lot of other classes. And everything about being a hunter for the most part is good. If you're bad at using a bow, you could just use a close range weapon like swords and short blade. And they get so much survival training that it's stupid to not be a hunter. So these 2 are exclusively in the category of good to amazing classes because there's nothing really negative that goes with them. If you guys can come up with anything in the comments, may I miss something in the light novel where there's a negative that I don't remember, let me know in the comments down below. But paladins, warriors' more magical cousins, can't heal themselves. They're not allowed to heal themselves or else they will lose their god's blessing, which is bullshit. And they even have other spells that will also lose their goddess's blessing. But it's okay for other people to heal them, though, which, okay. And this is a big problem if you're ever actually hurt, because if you decide to heal yourself, you're basically shit out of luck. You don't have any more powers now. As for priests are just not allowed to use any stabbing or slashing weapons whatsoever. They are only allowed blunt weapons, which is kind of weird, honestly, because if you're in a situation where you have to use a knife or a sword, and you do, you're no longer allowed to have the light god's magic now. You're just kind of shit out of luck. Also, it has been talked about that priests have to actually pray for their enemies after they are killed. Whether they do it or their teammates do it, they still have to pray for them. This is usually shown with a little hand gesture towards their foreheads, with do a little prayer, and that's about it. If you don't do this, apparently, it displeases your god and you can actually lose your powers. But there are moments in the light novel where we know for a fact Mary could not have prayed for them because they're in the middle of being attacked by enemies. So I'm guessing there's like a window of opportunity for you to do this. I'm guessing, like, I know that Mary's also done it while running away from enemies as well. So it's kind of funny. You gotta do the prayer or you're gonna lose your powers, even if you're running away from your enemies. Granted, it's an easy little gesture, so it's not that hard, but it's still pretty funny to me. And as for mages, for the most part, your teachers are just going to be extremely harsh on you. And if you're not a guy, the strongest mage in the school that teaches mages how to be mages will not teach you. And if you're a girl, he will, if you let him touch you, which... I'm just gonna leave that there, because, oh boy. Also, mages are not really told every single bit of their magic system unnecessarily. They kind of like letting you come up with your own way of doing magical spells, and you can eventually come up with your own type of magic, which could be good or bad depending on how you feel about the fact that you have to pay to learn something, but they choose to not let you learn everything that they can teach you, which is kind of weird. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens after you leave the main area in Grimgar and start venturing out into the rest of the world. And thank you for watching this far. I'll see you guys in the next video. And don't forget that I'm live streaming right now if you're watching this on release. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!